Hey everyone, this is Tom from MonTac here, and we are back at it again with an incredible matchup, this time for the Pro Division title featuring current Pro Champions ZweiStein, defending their title against the #1 ranked contender in Crimson. Both players on a very large win streak, ZweiStein coming in at 6 matches in a row and Crimson on 4 matches in a row. We have truly never had a title match with both these players having so much on the line with so much of a win streak, and that's an immediate sack for Coconut Heart, denying Crimson to even get started with this strategy. Very well done there. ZweiStein, of course, is now on their 7th potential match. If they can get this, they'll be 7 in a row, very close to the title of the record of 8 in a row wins, and Crimson immediately passes. Is ZweiStein can string together a couple wins here, a couple attacks here, they could easily get the win. This is a... Holy smokes, we've dropped Prometheus. Is this it? Prometheus has been known to use in a lot of starlet strategies whereby a lot of additional attacks would be used, and looks like it will not be happening here. We're looking potentially at a very first of its time in competitive play, a Vigilante mirror match. And of course Crimson gets the perfect roll on the next turn. See if they can respond to ZweiStein's play there. Crimson, of course, has joined only recently, and through competing a bunch of times in the rookies has made their way up, even getting a runner-up position in the January rookie tournament. This is a tournament that ZweiStein actually lost in the very first round. However, that remains their only loss for the season, and have since gone on an absolute tear in the Pro Division, ripping people apart left and right. Both players, of course, are advocating for the Vigilante archetype and remain their biggest supporters. It is going to be incredibly interesting to see how this plays out between two of the very best in the Pro Division. Currently, Crimson is a bit more of a laid-back strategy. Meanwhile, ZweiStein, while they do take their time, is a bit more on the aggro side with Barox. We're going to have to see how they interact in this matchup. This is the very first time Crimson has contested for a Pro Division title, and if they win, they'll be the very first time they become a Pro Champion. And we haven't had a new Pro Champion since Mini Smoke in December. So a lot is on the line for Crimson here. A single loss will place them to the bottom. We've got a roll of 5 from ZweiStein. Both players getting very good rolls. This is definitely going to be a long control battle, but with Barox on the line and Alt AKs possible, we'll have to see what happens. Really nice play there from Crimson to out that Black King, but Black King will come back due to its effect of Black King's rebirth, so that's pretty nice for Zwei. Jared's going to come down. Jared's going to grab them another card from deck, which will be a noble type monster, which is very nice. Definitely a difficult thing for ZweiStein here is they are on 1 health, so they can't afford to slip up here at all, or they'll be left completely wide open, and that's why they're grabbing that casualty there. It can actually be played regardless of class now, since it was fetched due to that little Dan there in the class 1. And what it does is, once the monster selected by it perishes, you can play a Vigilante from deck, and it will gain 1300. And we're going to spawn immediately with a Savage Shield, and they can't do it because Prometheus stops the tactical effects from being played, or tacticals being played rather. Going for 2 health, a very aggressive stance here from ZweiStein. Very, very good. In cooldown, we're looking at potentially playing a different card here. Crimson is notorious for using their Coconut Heart strategies to keep on shuffling a lot of their cards back into the asset pile, and by doing that they can boost their cards while increasing their health points. And they're going to gain some health points from that there. Okay. So we're going to grab a noble type here. That's going to grab Dan, so it look like here comes the full mirror. like we said, we haven't had a title match with an exact mirror, or very close to an exact mirror, in, gosh, it must be at least over a year. It is absolutely incredible to see these two come battling it out here. We've got Dylan in play. Dylan's a really good card for specialty removal. The whole Vigilante archetype itself is based on specialty removing, basically removing the effects or specialties of monsters. And the great thing about Vigilantes is they specially remove their own cards as well, and they have what we call a sleeper skill. A sleeper skill is a one-time skill that activates when that monster loses its specialty. Now, what the whole point of that basically meaning is these sleep skills are generally more powerful than specialties. So Vigilantes will specially remove themselves to activate that sleeper skill. Okay, so we're going Dylan over the Jared here. Of course, if ZweiStein wins this matchup with so much on the line, they will actually become the third player in MonTac TCG history to defend their pro title 3 times, with no one who has ever defended their title 4 times. This means they would be 1 win away from making history. And on top of that, of course, we have got the last person to ever get 3 tile defenses was Squishy in August 2021. So almost 2 years ago, we have had someone achieve this feat. Back when it was a lot easier to do so, and now when it's harder than ever, ZweiStein is being pushed to the brink to see if they can handle not only a random deck with a random opponent, but a surging rookie contender on a 4-match win streak using their own deck. This is going to be very, very hard for ZweiStein. Going to roll here. Let's see what ZweiStein can pull out of this. We got a 5. Both players rolling pretty well for this game. Allows them to play pretty fast and loose. Let's see how they're going to go here. So they got Darius in play. Darius is good for special removal. It also has a skill that can boost itself based on the original power of a card in your perish pile, which really just gives itself a quite high beat stick kind of strategy. Vigilantes have recently been the best deck in the format, just based on the track of these two doing so incredibly well in their respective divisions. But now with Crimson, of course, advancing to the pros and getting their shot in Pro A, we finally get to see this huge match clash. They've never played before. This is the very first time, and it is already getting quite close in the exchanges. Both players have been putting in a lot of effort, a lot of work just to practice for this matchup. Crimson, of course, always ready to play against anybody that asks for a practice game, and ZweiStein even enlisting help from the creator himself for a practice game beforehand. Both players are good to go and ready to rock. So we're going to start with a Prometheus over Dylan. Okay, so they're going to get out a Darius from Casualty. That Darius will hit 3,000. Going to beat over. How much power is that at? It's a 3,000 to 3,000 with an Outcast Axe. Ooh, very lethal here. Let's see if we got a Savage Dual Shield. Savage Dual Shield comes into play to end the turn. Nice exchange there. Both players not losing ground of any sorts. They both have the same amount of cards in their perish piles. This is far from over. Currently on with just under 10 minutes in the match now, and we're already pretty far up in terms of turns. Sorry about that. And we hit the roll of 3, of course, so we're going to look at see what they can attack into. Crimson's going to be very careful here, not leave themselves wide open to any sort of barracks attacks. Looking to special move the enemy Darius. Is that a smart play, considering that will specially move and grant the power of a perished original power monster? Which could mean we're looking at a 4,700 Darius, which could be quite troublesome for Crimson to deal with. So looks like the highest is 1450. So we're looking at 4450 Darius, easily the highest power card in play. Gosh, we might have to see a guilty C here from Crimson. Going into conflict. Monomaze. Looks like both players have brought some power-ups to this game. Oh, and the hand is revealed. We're looking at a Dylan. Lucky 1 through 5. Dylan. Synergy nullification and a regen. Definitely very useful for Crimson to have that knowledge. They can be aware of what to expect when they do eventually drop that Barox. So we're beating over the Prometheus now. Playing Operator. Great player from Operator here. Operator's an incredible counter to Darius. But as you will have no doubt noticed, ZweiStein is dipping into their asset pile quite a fair bit. They've only got 4 cards left out of 6, while if you look at Crimson, they have got 6 remaining. While Crimson did not get to use their Coconut Hut. Speaking of Coconut Hut, ZweiStein's just milled theirs. While Crimson did not get to use their Coconut Hut, they are definitely wearing ZweiStein down. However, losing that 3900 Darius has got to hurt a little bit. And that will, of course, take the Operator up to 3600. Roll of 3. Now the question is, can ZweiStein turn this play into a little bit of aggression here? Can they get through the line? Can they break through, get some sort of board control, and really take over this match? They've got 3 monsters that are at least 3000 each. It's going to be interesting. Going into conflict right away. Roll of 3. And we got a Coconut Hut from Crimson, the final Coconut Hut. Okay, just debating now what the response to Coconut Hut. Going to conflict. We're looking to ask if he can send a card before conflict. Okay, we're going to go Jared into the hut, which will give Jared a bit more power when it comes back. It allows also Crimson to help with their bricking problem. However, it does leave them to take more damage this turn, but I guess the benefit is, of course, with Coconut Hut giving them 2 health points, it will actually really just break them even here. Great play from Crimson. While both players are notorious endgame strategists, this could be ending quite a fair bit early. At the rate that they're burning through their decks. Okay, so we've got Operator engaging Dan. Checking now where the Dan is gone. Clear the board and they can hit for 2. ZweiStein maintains board control, but this could change it at the flick of a switch. Even just a single Lance Vigilante or a Vigilante Lance, MonTac Vigilante Lance, would change the landscape of this matchup entirely. And again, another 2 health points with that regeneration, keeping their health quite high. Interesting. ZweiStein goes to 5 health. Surely they're starting to consider potentially getting rid of that Coconut Hut, I would think. We're going to wait to see what Crimson can roll here. Crimson gets a 4. So Jared hits acid, 2600. Okay. It's not technically 2600, it's actually 1600 plus 1000 in its first conflict. So that will matter past the first conflict. There's Lance. Oh my gosh, there's the Lance. Lance is a huge play here, and that will take care of the Coconut Hut. But what an incredibly risky strategy here from ZweiStein. Because once Lance goes... Oh, that's a board wipe. That's going to take out ZweiStein completely. Ooh, that's a roof. That is brutal. Okay, so just calculating which cards are permanently specially moved. Great play from Crimson. Huge value play. We could be looking at a brand new champion here. If so, it'd be one of the very first times a rookie has just straight up gone to the pro title and taken it. We'll have to see. We're going to go for lethal. ZweiStein technically has the deck advantage at this stage, but their asset is getting smaller and smaller. And they'll be forced to dip into it again. This is going to be very tough. Okay, gonna go into Barox here. Gonna attempt to beat over Barox, it looks. They carve it, dipping even further into the asset pile. Holy smokes, ZweiStein is definitely having to go pretty crazy here. This is an incredibly dominant champion, one of the most dominant champions in years. And now you're telling me they're suffering against this new rookie. It's going to be very difficult here for ZweiStein to turn this around. I'm not sure how they're going to do it. Of course, Crimson is absolutely putting the pressure on. Of course, both huts have been dealt with, which is a great play here. And they're even going to search for a Savage Dual Shield, which is very nice. Actually, 2 cards were discarded, and that's going to get rid of a Dylan and a Marine Guard. Not bad at all. That will take that Barox up to 6,100, giving them a very aggressive strategy coming forward. The question is, does Crimson know about the overdrive from ZweiStein? Roll of 6 is pretty nice, but it will not allow them to OTK. Current Judge APOC just letting them know they need to refill their hands. Got the roll of 6. A lot of plays here. Jared should be, I believe, lower. Just going to confirm with APOC. Okay, they're going to drop that Jared down to 1600, as it did technically have its first conflict. Makes it even easier for ZweiStein to break through the line with their supporting cast. Let's see what they can bring to this. Currently just under 20 minutes into this matchup. Okay, so let's see. Barox, the great thing about Barox is it specially moves your own Vigilantes in the Perish pile, which activate their sleeper skills, which can help you kind of maneuver and get around a lot of the bigger boys in the meta. It's a great strategy to get around, and it gives additional attacks to your Barox, which allows you to potentially get a late game OTK as well. It is just a very nice card, and definitely has brought Vigilantes to the forefront of competitive play. The only concern I have is that Crimson has not yet touched their asset pile once, and ZweiStein is already down to their final 2 left. Going into Lance. Got a response to the Lucky 1355 into Lance. Why would Lance select Jared here? Seems like a bad move. Anyway, so let's see what ZweiStein is going to do here. We've got Marine Guard hitting field. Marine Guard is going to end the turn here. Both players incredibly cautious to not allow any sort of slips, and we are definitely in sudden death now. That is 10 turns done, and we are in sudden death, which means any wounding is immediate loss. This is going to be an incredibly strong match. Okay, roll of 4 now. Okay, so we've got the roll of 4 now from Crimson. Okay, so we've got a roll of 4 here. Crimson's going to look at how they're going to deal with this Barox. Are they going to pour into their, look into their own asset? What is the question? Looks like they're trying to debate over a question here. We've got Regenerator hitting field. That's definitely new. Regenerator is hitting field for Crimson. This is a card that basically activates and allows them to add a regen from perished or deck to their hand every time a monster perishes while Regenerator is in play. Great for Crimson. Great play there. Okay, so we're going to go into, we've got Oppression. Oppression is going to be putting itself back into the deck. So it looks like we're looking at potentially some Destroyer influence in this Vigilante build of Crimson's. Okay, so now if you're ZweiStein in this situation, you've got your Barox in play. You got Barox at like 6,000. You got Mansect in play. I guess the question is, how do you wrap this match up? Because you can't keep playing for too long. You're going to be running out of resources here. This is going to be very difficult. Going after Lance immediately, which is the right play. I am surprised that ZweiStein's allowing... Ooh, nope, Savage Dual Shield immediately stopping. Denying Crimson. Got a roll of 4. Okay, so we're looking at now the roll of 4. Are we using Lance? But Lance won't kill... Yeah, it won't kill it. Dang, that's unfortunate. Oh, that's a huge misplay there from ZweiStein. This match being early in the morning for them is really showing. However, Crimson is under a very similar situation as it's very late in the night for them as well. This could be the deciding factor. Currently looking to gain additional attack potentially. Okay, so we're going to use Barox now to Sebastian with a card to then activate. Does Crimson have the out? Because if they don't, they're definitely dead. This could be it right now. This very turn could be the end of the match. That Barox can keep on special moving and keep on special moving and keep on special moving and keep adding additional attack after additional attack after additional attack. And with us now being in sudden death, it only takes one to get the job done. And this is going to be very intense indeed. we're going to specially move Darius, which is very unusual. So Darius will gain the power of a perished card. Potentially grab Prometheus. Ooh, that's a miss as well. This is rough. People are missing triggers left and right. 6,100 over 1,600. Surely this is where you drop casualty. Hammering him down to 2,100. But that's not really going to be quite enough. Titan Destroy Sword boosting the Jared here. Surely a guilty comes in from ZweiStein. Come on, this is definitely a guilty situation. Although to be fair, ZweiStein could afford to lose Barox here, as they have previously used Overdrive in their Vigilante deck. And that will be successful in defending Crimson. Okay, so with the 3,100 Jared here is very nice. Okay, so that does deal with Barox, but it may come back later in the game. We're going into Dan again. As you can see, their deck's also getting smaller and smaller, with Crimson looking at about 4 cards left, but ZweiStein has about 9 cards left. However, Crimson has far more left in the asset pile, which means we are looking at a deck versus asset pile situation here, with the main emphasis being on what's the quality of both of those situations. Does ZweiStein have a lot of really good cards left, or is it all just basically a mix of things that can't really be used? Because we know that Crimson's asset pile is very, very strong. It just really does come down to, well, does ZweiStein have the ounce? 3,100 is going for lethal now. This also could be it if ZweiStein is not careful. Going to drop Null Factor here. Null Factor is going to special move a lot of people. But the problem I have with this, sacrificing 2 health, so they could potentially force a guilty situation here. Is he going to guilty the Dan? Oh, he might. Holy, this is bad. He is forcing the guilty out early. Wow, that is ruthless if that happens. Holy smokes, this is not a good idea. Not a good idea. Oh, what? They're going to retarget. Why would that? Oh gosh, this is so over the board. What the heck is going on here? So we're getting a lot of regens here for Crimson, which is really good for them. But my goodness, that's a bit weird. Let's see. ZweiStein is back against the wall. 6 versus 1 asset. This is looking absolutely brutal. Crimson might be able to pull it off here. Dan Specialty gets back online. Going for lethal with Dan. Arathor hits field, looking for a card in deck to see if they want to play anything, and then they can check the Parish pile if they don't want to. Oh, they're going to go for Dan. Dan can grab a casualty. ZweiStein is down to their last asset card. I'm not sure how they're going to pull off a win here, but if anyone can do it, it is the reigning champion ZweiStein. Looking to crash Dan versus Dan. ZweiStein is definitely in a precarious situation. Gonna go casualty. They're going to double casualty. Double casualty, double Dan. Both are gone, which will give us 2 monsters. One will have to be from deck if they have one. Gonna go for Barox here. Okay, so that confirms there are no Vigilantes left in ZweiStein's deck, which means Barox is a valid target here. Now, of course, Crimson cannot attack into that Barox. Okay. So this should be a pass to ZweiStein here. Okay, so this is very interesting now. Crimson is going to try and gain some health points now. They're going to pass it back. Now, great job on ZweiStein here. They got their asset back. They're definitely going to be looking to end this match as soon as possible. Crimson running out of deck. Surely they've got a bunch of Guilty Seas left, although we can't quite be sure of what they've got remaining. I would highly suggest it's going to be a Guilty Sea. Okay, so we're just confirming now the status of Barox. Barox is specialty intact, and Barox does start off with 2 attacks, as it does keep those attacks for the rest of the game, as it is not also specialty moved. Looking to see what the roll is. The roll is 2, which means no sort of real extensive strategies. However, this does mean that what the Guilty Sea is 100% online and ready to be used. Very difficult here. ZweiStein is under a huge amount of pressure. The question is, when Crimson loses their resources in deck, is their asset pile going to be able to handle a full-powered Barox? Because what Vigilantes are great at in attack, they lack in defense. They don't have a lot of good defensive strategies. They've got specialty removal, but they don't really have any blocking. So the question really becomes, if ZweiStein goes on a rampage right now, what in Crimson's asset pile, or potentially what in their hand, can actually get them out of this conundrum? We're going to go right after it, especially moving the dam, which will drop ZweiStein to 1 health point through doing this, and that will set the Darius down to 300. Discarding Gareth. Moving. So they both go up to 300. So we're looking at a crash at this stage. We'll have to see if ZweiStein is actually upset with this, because they might be okay with it, to be honest. And Arathor has more than enough to deal with the Jared. This is a very interesting matchup, and I don't know if Crimson is aware of the overdrive situation. And of course, if the Synergy Null should be placed on Crimson's Barox, that will put them in a very difficult situation. Okay. So here we go. Going for 2 health again. Crimson is just keeping their health high. So we've got Arathor on board. Arathor clearly has a line to take care of that Jared. Although we are definitely expecting Guilty. Guilty C is dropped. Arathor will drop to 0. Arathor looks to be gone. Arathor is gone. No cards left in asset. ZweiStein has no more proper defenses. Crimson has the turn. Crimson has used their Guilty Sea. Let's see what else they've got. It's only one Guilty Sea in there. It looks like both casualties are in there. So it looks like we're looking at a Guilty Sea left on Crimson's side if they are running a second copy. ZweiStein is left wide open for the very first time ever in their entire championship reign. They have got potentially no answers. Crimson gets the 5. This allows them to extend into further plays. We're going to go and attack for lethal. Let's see what happens. Gareth hits field. Ooh, holy smokes, that has got to make you worry. There wasn't even overdrive set up. Holy smokes. Crimson really could have pushed for the aggression here with the Barracks and gotten the win. And Guilty Sea! Guilty Sea! We're going to Oppression Destroy a Sword, which will get it to 2,000. So that puts it pretty high. Holy smoke. Holy smokes. Is there any response? This is getting incredibly tense. Okay, let's see what the response is. So we've got a 2,000 Jared versus 1,600 Gareth. Does ZweiStein have any sort of response? They can't use Titan Destroy Sword. Rage Release could be a possibility here. Regenerate goes to hand, can act as a regen. Roll of 5 for turn. Letting it go. Wow, letting it go. And that will put Jared up to a total of 5,100, I believe. Huge amount of power. And we got a roll of 6 for ZweiStein. Okay, roll of 6 for ZweiStein. If they're going to pull off anything, now is the time. Can they do it? Now, the problem with Oppression is it gives the power up, but it means that if ZweiStein can play anything with a lower original power than Jared, it will take it out. And the original power of Jared is 600, so they need a class 1 potentially. Going into Dylan. Dylan being played. Bit of an interesting play here. If you are ZweiStein, surely you are going to drop that potential Slicer Kid. I don't know if they even have Slicer Kid in the Perish part at this stage. I don't believe they do, and I don't believe they've got the synergies online. They need that guy out there. If it's still stuck in their deck, this could be not... Well, this could be basically lethal. How does ZweiStein get out of this scenario? Going lucky, 135! Wow, that's going to grab him Slicer Kid. Holy smokes, what a great play. But wait, if they don't have any cards left in their deck, they must have a Slicer Kid left in their hand. So if they've got Slicer Kid in hand, they have access. So at least they can crash the Slicer Kid this turn. Did they not add Slicer Kid to their deck? Slicer Kid, surely. You gotta drop Slicer. Oh no, because Null Factor! Null Factor! That's what he's done! It's Null Factor! Oh my gosh. Even more health gain for Crimson here. Wow, this has been an incredible matchup. Crimson has yet to touch their asset pile and goes after Dan. Here we go. Going to Gareth. Okay. Here we go. If they special move Dan, Dan will drop it down to 300! This is definitely going to force a regen from Crimson, or they will lose Jared. Oh, this is so intense. Oh my gosh, I don't know how ZweiStein's going to win this, but goodness, if they do. Drops it down to 300. ZweiStein goes to 1 health point yet again. Second effect of Titan Destroyer, putting it back into deck. And we're not going to draw. Ooh. Okay, so we're just looking at... Potentially we see Operator hit field here. Oh my gosh, that could be it if it's Operator. This could be it! Oh, snap! Operator's hitting field! Oh, holy crap! Holy crap! Holy smokes. It looks like the Operator is going to be dealing with Dylan here, which means they're going to leave ZweiStein wide open for 300 Jared! There's no way. Holy smokes. Is Jared about to win this game for Crimson? That will cancel the conflict for Jared, leaving Jared with an additional attack. He can still attack with Jared, and that is going to be it, it looks like. Can he stop it? Can he stop it is the question. Can ZweiStein stop it? Is that GG? That is GG! Sorry about that, I completely cut out there. Crimson, congratulations on your win. Well played, sir. You have ended one of the biggest streaks of all time. Well played. Thank you for watching. This has been Tom. Have a great week.